I mean, I wasn't always this, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
but I learn from mistakes and I watch,
Mm.
and I'm often called to fix other people's mistakes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So usually as a solutionist, I wanted to be the person that people called to fix things. One, because I can charge a premium. You
Mm-hmm.
pay emotions will make you pay whatever it is that you want to pay, or that you
Mm-hmm.
feel like you can pay to solve a problem.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So
So
high
you don't feel
up.
stuck in that
I'm so
position. You feel like,
deja vu. I've been here before. Say come back down to earth. Resist the urge. Still no break. On this court. Let's die. Eat the board. Go for broke. Hustle hard. Lead it all. On the floor. Open floor. Go for broke. Hustle hard. Lead it all. On the floor. On the floor. Lead it all.
welcome to another Let's Dream Big CTA podcast. I am your host, the interview expert, Mark Thompson, back with another exciting special podcast today. We are doing the entrepreneurs of the triangle, and today I have a serial entrepreneur. She is let me read it exactly right, because I got all this stuff mixed up. Entrepreneurs are busy. I like to let that be known. So gathering information for them can take months. But she is a chief event designer. And I say serial entrepreneur because she's built several businesses. We'll get into that. But today I want to introduce to you all the serious and most important essential community leader, Joye Speight.
Hi,
How are you
Mark.
doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. And I forgot to mention the name of your company. It is Virtual Events. I'm glad you have it behind you as well. But yes, you're here. I finally got you here. Finally.
Yeah,
Pulling teeth,
finally.
grabbing, man, I swear, I'm glad you did it. I'm honored that you're here. I know we have some good folks in the Durham area. I got a few folks from Raleigh, but to really shine a light on people that I know, that I see that shine bright in this triangle area, you are one of those people. I promise you, if you go out there online and see these other entrepreneurs, you're going to be in the background because you connect with these folks and you're definitely a great networker. So I can see that's going to be one of my questions I'm going to ask you is how you do these things and who you connect with. But that's an important piece. So yeah, glad to have you on here, Joy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good, good. So we're going to jump right into it. Matter of fact, no, let me just read this because again, I know you. The folks out here watching this show, we do this for career-minded folks, but this is special because we're talking about entrepreneurs in this season. And we have a lot of folks that are maybe in a career that may want to jump to being an entrepreneur, especially a lot of African Americans, especially in 2025. And it's a good time to do it. So we're going to explore those topics today. And I want to tell you all who Joy is. Joy is again, a serial entrepreneur, a creative designer, a builder of atmospheres and experience plus people. This is from your website. See, I read that. Beautiful. Her areas of specialty are event concept creation. That sounds like that costs money. Consultation, wedding planning, on-site event management, conference planning, strategic planning, logistics, vendor management, customer relations, and community engagement. These are a lot of things. That sound like Trump, right? And she does many, many, many things.
Yeah.
She she is a native of Durham, a
Hmm.
family of serial entrepreneurs. So that's when I engaged with you. You told me a lot about your family and pretty much the Haiti era of Black Wall Street. Your family pretty much is the mecca, the centerpiece of Black Wall Street, which is all trending and chaining into who you are today and what you're continuing to build. And I'm proud for you to be able to talk about that today because I think people need to understand that. I ain't going to talk about Jordan High School and all that other stuff, but you are a certified meeting professional, certified wedding planner, and holds a hotel travel license, International Association for Travel Agents. I did not know that, so I need you to hook that up for me. So we can talk about that later. Where'd you go to
Okay.
school? Where did you go for university?
Virginia State,
You
and
did.
I did some time at Central.
Okay, so you're part Eagle, part what's the Trojan?
Trojan.
Part Trojan. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how'd you like Petersburg?
It serves a purpose.
Right. There's a school, there's a Walmart, there's a mall. That's all you
It
got.
serves a purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you got. So this is great. Like I said, the introduction is the introduction, but Joy, you're here, you're on this show. First question I like to ask everybody is, tell us about yourself. Who is Joye Speight?
Joye Speight is a daughter of Durham. I am the baby in our family. Also referred to as the passionate one, a mother,
I like that.
and a creative solutionist. I
Mm,
spend every day, pretty much all day, creatively solving problems.
mm,
And building relationships. And the way that I do that, the tools by which I implement that are through events, are through bringing people together and building relationships.
I like that because you've helped me. You helped me think outside
Okay.
the box, and I'm pretty sure, but you get paid for it. You get
Yes.
paid for it.
Yes, I do.
I want to tap into that later, but I want to go back now to this history and wealth of your family in the Black Wall Street. So obviously, it doesn't necessarily mean it's pressure, but if you had a whole family of entrepreneurs and you're not an entrepreneur, Thanksgiving will be awkward.
Well, Thanksgiving is awkward, okay? Let's just keep it there. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Thanksgiving is awkward. I would say the blessing
hmm
of coming from a family of entrepreneurs is that everybody doesn't have that gift, right? and
hmm
and to be able to identify, entrepreneurs are like experts at identifying problems that need to be solved, right? And every
hmm
person serves a purpose, and so a lot of people don't like the risk that is involved in being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I happen to be, out of my family, the riskiest one. So, it made sense. Now, tapping into that, if you kind of expound on that thought, being an event planner was one thing, but actually connecting it to my family legacy was something totally different, and purpose was totally different. That came later. So
hmm
I actually developed the talent and developed the skill, and skill sets, plural, to be able to do my job well. But I didn't flourish until it got
mm
connected to my purpose and to my family legacy. And that's when it was exponential. So
mm.
I think that's important to know. Everybody can't be an entrepreneur.
Right.
It's just not
Right.
in them. The risk is heavy and the weight is heavy. And
hmm
everyone can't stand that, right? And that's okay. It's nothing wrong with it.
hmm
It is, however, you have to have thick skin. You have to, listen well. There's so
hmm
many different attributes that are attributed to being an entrepreneur. That same your same soft skills can go into corporate
hmm
America and small business and nonprofit, but it takes a different lens when you
mm
are an entrepreneur and a different level of risk.
You said some things here that we've spoken on several of the podcasts for this series alone. And the main thing that comes up with everybody, two things: intentionality, but that comes
Hmm.
after you actually define what your purpose is. Because if you can connect to a purpose that's a problem that you can solve, then you may have a great idea for a business. After that, the intentionality and actually doing the work, you got to go out there and do it. Can't sit there and wait. And sometimes procrastination and fear, we talked about that, is a blocker. It's a blocker for a few people. Those are the humps and valleys that people can't get past because they're like, man, I don't know, or I don't have the money and I don't know who to talk to. And it's like, well, be curious, be courageous, go out there and talk, figure it out. You're going to fail. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be excellent on the first try. So you
Well,
hit it because we're there.
yeah, I think so. Failing doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, right?
No, not at all.
I mean, failing forward is what it takes. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people fail and then they stop and they allow it to paralyze them.
Yes.
And then obviously there are people out there that are like, you got to motivate yourself. And motivation is external. And
Mhm,
so that doesn't always take. It has to be inspired action, right? What's connecting to your soul and what is, God or your source, whoever it is that
yes,
you're, praying to. What are they telling you or what is he telling you to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that inspired action, can catapult you into the next phase. But a
Mm-hmm.
motivation is temporary. It's not something that is lasting. And that's why it's
Right.
important to know your why.
Yes. Is that the inspiration of your name, Virtual Events? Is it more
Yeah,
spiritual?
it is.
Hey, I like that. I like that. I feel like I'm reaching a lot of folks who have got a lot of connection. We talk about God a lot on these episodes, and that does speak to that. And I tell people exactly what you said. No matter who, some type of higher power that you're connected to, listen and be guided. Because if you want to do it by yourself, then yeah, you're gonna have failure because it is what it is. There's guidance that's really telling you how to be and where to be positioned to win. And also, like you said, the failures that you need to have in order to succeed going forward, because you got to take some lumps to figure it out and get it right. So yeah,
And you learn more.
amen. Amen. You definitely do. Definitely do. Now, going back to your family, you got a whole extensive grandpa, daddy, great granddaddy, mama, aunts, uncles, cousins. Everybody's doing a business, being successful. You know, would you say as a collective, were they inspirational to who you are today? Or is there one particular person you would like to say, okay, this was the shining star that helped me be Joye Speight?
I would say collective. I take a little bit of, I experience everyone differently, right? So
Mm-hmm.
um, I can't attribute my success to just one person. I think I've learned lessons from all of
Mm-hmm.
them. I've learned from my grandfather that he used to tell me a few things. One, never let anyone outwork me.
Mm-hmm.
Two, that I am in position to serve, and that until I become a master, I will always be serving. And even when I become the master, that mantle is to serve more. And so
Mm-hmm.
that weight is super heavy. My father taught me the importance of family and faith.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother taught me never give up, never settle. My aunts taught me the importance of education.
Mm-hmm.
I have another aunt that has taught me the importance of health. I mean, I've got a lot of, I can go down the line and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, talk about the lessons that I've learned from all of them,
Mm-hmm.
but it's collective, and humans tend to compartmentalize. So even when they were
Right.
telling me these things, it didn't apply to my life. It's
Right.
just like going to school and
Right.
you're saying that you're not going to use the things that you're learning. But then when the opportunity comes up, it's muscle memory, and you're
Mm-hmm.
able to pull on that information. Um, I would say a lot of now, if you say attribute to one piece of information, I would say that would come from my brother,
Mm-hmm.
and that would be momentum to momentum.
Mm.
And at the height of your project, the height of you booking and or selling,
Mm-hmm.
book another project and keep the momentum going so that you're never down in the
Mm.
valley
Right.
willingly. And for events, they're highly emotional, you have to be emotionally available to do the work that I do because it's heavy connection. And when I first got started, I didn't have the business to kind of go all the way through the year. The hot
Mm-hmm.
spots were obviously the spring, summer, fall, and then wintertime. I would dip, and it would be because I didn't have anything to throw myself
Mm-hmm.
into. And so my
Right.
brother told me momentum to momentum, and I haven't stopped since he told me that.
Wow. So I want to ask you that. So, you're doing event planning, and I'm gonna probably fast forward to a question I'm probably ask later, but I will ask it now. Corporate America teaches us about work-life balance, or they try to, and tell you need to take your vacation and PTO. But as an entrepreneur who is busy, who is in charge of their own busy work and their productivity, how do you manage that? What are the processes that you say, you know what, Joy needs to sit down and take a break?
I am not going to be the example here. I'll tell you that. Um, horrible at that. The interesting part about corporate America versus entrepreneurship is that it's a different side of the same coin, right? So in
Exactly.
entrepreneurship, we're kind of taught like throw caution to the wind and like go hard, go hard, go hard, no bounds.
Mm-hmm.
Like you gotta quit your job and like throw all that you have into
Mm-hmm.
building your brand and building your business. Now, that is not healthy advice or information because we all need rest.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not until I would probably say the last maybe 3 to 4 years that people have started leaning into rest, right? Leaning
Mm-hmm.
into balance. Prior to that, you just go burn yourself out and then you come back on the upswing and then you do the same rinse and repeat. And
Mm-hmm.
that has literally been my life is that I'll burn
Mm-hmm.
myself out and then I can't do anything at all because I'm mentally burnt out. I'm mentally spent. I'm emotionally spent. Physically, I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
And so usually that's when I take the step back. But that flies in the face of our law, which is momentum to
Right.
momentum, right? So if I
Right.
take, because I am the showrunner, I'm the person that, is,
Mm-hmm.
everyone is hiring. I have to be available. And so I've learned that I have to be at my best. I have to be optimal and
Mm-hmm.
masterful in my craft so that I have consistent results. And so,
Right.
in order to do that, I have to build in those breaks for myself. And so,
Mm-hmm.
usually that is December. I take the whole month of December off.
Okay.
And then, and I've had to tie that to goals for the whole year,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, if I don't make my goals by a certain amount of time, I'm working December. And that
Mm-hmm.
is more of a reinforcement for me for the next year to like get on
Right.
top of my game early, not wait, be proactive, not reactive, so that I can set it up so that I can take the whole December off or from my birthday,
Mm-hmm.
really, from November to December. So this year I wasn't able to do that because I
Mm-hmm.
ran into an election year that I did not properly prepare for. And so I'm working. But if I hit my goals in 4 months out of the year, I bake it in so that I can take 2 or 3 months off just
Mm-hmm.
to build me. Now, am I consistent with that? No. One. Two,
Mm-hmm.
is that something that benefits me all the time? No, because as an entrepreneur, I feel guilty when I am not working.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that, I've had to kind of work myself through, which is I deserve rest too.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm so emotionally tapped into our clients, now I have set a new rule and a new precedent with our clients where like I matter. So if you want
Mm-hmm.
your event to be great, I know you want what you want, but now I have to level set expectations of when you're
Mm-hmm.
going to get things, right? You do not have the like you don't have the soul over my time and my energy. You are
Mm-hmm.
renting it. You are leasing it. And
Right.
so it is for me as the leaseor, it is my job to tell you what the terms of that lease.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that I've gotten to that point, but no, it is not balance is not something that entrepreneurs innately know. I am happy. This new generation of
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurs definitely know like I'm not showing up for this.
Right.
They do take it to another level sometimes, but ultimately it's for them to be the most productive,
Mm-hmm.
self, their most productive self.
Yeah. I noticed that, I'm new to the entrepreneur game and you've been showing me the ropes and telling me some things. And then I found my lane in this avenue and some of the things that I try to incorporate, but I've kind of felt that structure too. Like the business is going. It's off on the holidays and maybe the weekends, but Monday through Friday, it continues to go. So the things I've gotten team members to kind of help me usher the things that would be consistent work. Whereas I kind of do some passive things too. Like, I mean, the social media stuff, I can hire somebody for that eventually. But for sometimes that keeps my mind thinking, okay, I'm still working. But it's not as strenuous as me trying to create a whole course or project or link in with some of my project owners and have these meetings and set up stuff. I'm like, okay, this is passive work because I'm still working. So it counts, but I get to do it while I'm watching TV. I get to
Yeah.
sit here and think of something a little bit less fun, but I know so it kind of had me thinking when you said, yeah, it doesn't stop. I was like, yeah, I get that. Cause I'm like, yeah, I got the weekend. I'm like, no, I got to play with my phone and create some stuff and send some emails and make people happy and smile and figure this out and find this algorithm and all that stuff. Cause it's busy like that. Other thing I was thinking where sometimes I try to black out periods or use something that I used in corporate was using blackout periods. Is that something that's even possible with, event planning? Or could you create a blackout period, but somebody pays you double to remove that blackout period? Not
I like the
necessarily
way you're
double, but
thinking. Hey, I like the
hey,
way you're
I'm
thinking.
I'm a creative solution person too.
Yeah, I do try to I do block scheduling. Yes. So
Uh-huh.
there are certain days that are my days to make my own decision on how I want my day to flow. So
Uh-huh.
Mondays, for instance, are my days to do whatever I want. Usually it's real estate or it might be household things. Tuesdays, Thursdays are more so client work slash client meetings. Wednesdays, I'm working on the business, not in the business.
Uh-huh.
So that's finances, that is proposal reviews,
Uh,
that's all those things. And then Friday, usually I'm prepping for an event or I'm about to, fly somewhere to execute. So I do that. A lot of it really just depends on our volume. And what I've learned over the course of time is that there are the things that I dislike to do
uh-huh.
could be automated and it could make us more efficient. And so part
Uh-huh.
of my value add to our clients is that we are efficient. We are quick. I can
Uh-huh.
plan an event in no time just from the comfort of my phone.
Right.
But that's because of relationships that have been built over time.
Uh-huh.
Now, it does take time to set those systems up, right? And so that's what I hear you saying is that, like, yeah, I could don't have anything to do on the weekend, but I mean, why not set up a system that can make me more efficient
Right.
over the course of time and eventually make more money? Because,
Uh-huh.
again, people are busy and that is also the reason why our clients choose us is we give you
Uh-huh.
the gift of time back. You don't have to do it. You tell me what you want and you walk away. And then
Right.
my interpretation of what you just told me, if I'm tapped in, and I always check before I execute, if I'm tapped in, I can execute what you say you want after
Uh-huh.
30-minute conversation. I already know who's going to do it. I know who's going to execute. I see the timeline. I see it from front to back.
Uh-huh.
But that took time for me to develop. And
Right.
there are touch points in there that, again, not managing expectations. People can think,
Uh-huh.
as an event planner or event producer, I mean, we do all of that. This is what I expect to see when the reality is no, 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 no. My goal is to give you back time, not for you to micromanage me.
Uh-huh.
Otherwise, it's another job, and I don't do that. So, yeah.
It's a couple of things I probably want to step to because I think in corporate, for my job specifically, a lot of people may not understand it, but even as I've gotten to the entrepreneur space, one of the biggest things I'm focused on is automation. I want things to be easy. When somebody opens the door of saying, I want to utilize you, and you get everything emailed, worked through, sent to you, set up, completed, and I'm not in the middle of every step. And I think that's a huge thing. How big would you say that is for a starting out? Like you said, it works for your company. I think it's big. So I already know the answer, but from a scale of 1 to 10, how big do you think that is for somebody who's brand new starting out the box to have that focus?
I think it's critical. I think it's critical because the reality is most entrepreneurs are the bottlenecks to their own companies, right?
Mm,
Especially because they're wearing all the hats. They're
uh-huh.
doing the marketing, they're doing social media, they're doing sales, they're doing executing contracts. Then they have to do the work. And then they have
Right.
to review the work. And so what ends up happening is something drops.
Yeah.
When if you could automate your entire sales process or your entire marketing, right, and automate
Uh-huh.
that, schedule it out, then it's easy for you to focus on the main thing, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so that's the issue I see commonly. I mean, everybody in America is an event planner every time, which is why I don't tell people I'm an event planner anymore. I'm just like, I just am out here. But everybody is an event planner, right? But the quality of their events and the level of education that they've received to be able to execute well
Mm-hmm.
and stack up in industry standard, that is what makes you masterful, right? And
Mm.
so these newcomers, entrepreneur, doesn't matter what industry, right? Because soft
Mm-hmm.
skills can transfer. But the reality is, if you don't set up your systems, that will be the thing that brings you down,
Right.
right? That will be the thing that everyone will complain about. Like for me,
Mm-hmm.
execution, I went years where execution and results were top notch, but people didn't feel like I communicated enough with them. Well, I'm an
Mm.
artist and I'm sensitive
Right.
about so you know what I mean? So like, do you want the result or do you want me to call you? And so
Right.
that became an issue. That was because I had a breakdown in my system. And now
Mm.
I have a system and an assistant who that is her role, right? I tell
Mm-hmm.
her, this is where we are with this. They already have a client portal. They can see for themselves. And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
doing double work. I think that that is important, is like being able to set up a system for the area that brings you the most discomfort, one, and then
Mm-hmm.
two, can hold up the process. So it
Mm-hmm.
removes you as a bottleneck.
Awesome. Creating the best systems for your operation. So I want to, let's take a commercial break real quick. And yeah, we'll be back.
Unlock the secret to outshining your competition in job interviews. Our course will teach you the mindset that turns job interviews into dream job offers. Ever wondered how some people effortlessly ace job interviews while you struggle to make an impression? Mark Thompson, founder and interview expert, has been in your shoes. After years of mastering the art of interviews, he has cracked the code. Now you can learn this code through our course at Career Transformation Academy. Our online course, The Blueprint to Landing Your Dream Job, is a game changer. It goes beyond traditional interview tips to provide you with a mindset makeover. We'll show you how to turn every job interview into a golden opportunity. What's truly valuable is the shift in mindset. We're not just preparing you for interviews. No, we're preparing you for a lifelong journey of career success. So are you ready to take this first step towards your dream job? Book a free session with an interview expert today at www.careertransformationacademy.com. Let's unlock your potential and set you on the path to success with the blueprint to landing your dream job. Don't wait, okay? Your dream career is just a click away. Click on the link in the description and we'll talk to you soon.
And we're back, everybody. So good segue from the last question. And we talked, when you think about entrepreneurs starting and setting up their business, look at the sun shining. It was shining on you earlier, now it's shining on me.
Yeah, it's
But
there.
that's that God. And so setting up a business and starting to think about their systems, and something you had told me a long time ago when I had a plan for something else. So these ideas are rumbling. And I think that's what happens when people start out in entrepreneurship. They're like, oh, I got an idea. But you gave me some of the best advice to think about. It's like you need to have 7 sources of income for your idea. And you said pretty much that's at minimum for it to work, or at least get the ground feelings of you making a successful business. And I'm stuck with that ever since. And now I write things down. And and it doesn't mean you necessarily may have them out the gate, because you may need to build one piece to get to the next one. And that expands your different streams of income. So
Hmm.
talk more about that, because I know I might be chopping it up a little bit, but it was beautiful information that I heard. It made me think like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Now I can actually dream. And now you understand where you may need to segment your systems, and you may need to delegate work because you can't handle 7 streams all at once. So
Right. Yeah, that's
yeah.
right. I mean, the best example, real life example of that is Ryan Seacrest.
Mm,
Think about
mm,
how many shows is Ryan Seacrest literally the showrunner for? He's
right.
literally the person in front of the camera. I've lost count, right? And so in order for
I can only
somebody
think
to
of 3 right now, then commercials. So I got 4, but then there's
Mhm.
6, 7 more after that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think I lost count at 9. I
Wow.
lost count. I stopped counting at 9. And so Ryan Seacrest was a DJ. I mean, he was on radio and
Mm-hmm.
opened himself up to be more of host. And now he is literally the glorified host of every single show. I think I saw him on
Mm.
Wheel of Fortune yesterday, and I was like, when the hell did he get on there?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so
Yes, he
Ryan
is.
Seacrest, the person, and I think he's single. So ladies, but
Mm-hmm.
he's single, no kids, and so he is literally using his youth to
Mm-hmm.
amass a fortune,
Mm-hmm.
and he has executive producer credit. So it's not just he's
Wow.
on the front of the TV. He's
Mm-hmm.
getting paid as a host. He's getting paid as an executive producer. He's getting paid on
Mm.
royalties. So if you think about all of that and you think about your business, like what are ways that you can actually tap into your pipeline and your workflow
Mm-hmm.
to be able to like peel a little bit off? Now,
Right.
there is a way to do it and there's a way not to do it, right? So
Right.
kickbacks we know are illegal. There should not be any situation, and I'm saying this and I've said it before, where you're getting kickbacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you can do though is set up affiliate operations, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
I can then refer somebody and I'm able to get a piece of the amount of money
Right.
that I'm referring to that, right? That's a
Mm-hmm.
commission. That's different. So the way that Virtue started was through a lot of weddings, and
Mm-hmm.
we morphed into nonprofit work. We morphed into then creative corporate events, and then we morphed into music festivals. And so, as a result of that, me being able to do multiple types of events, what I was able to do is actually identify areas within that workflow
Mm-hmm.
where we could get licensed, and we then could be the person that would absorb that cost. Another example of
Right.
that now, event venues have decided that they don't want to pay or they don't want to use third party wedding planners. They
Mm.
now are pushing that they have planners on staff.
Mm.
The challenge with that is that planner is only there to serve in the capacity of that particular venue. They're not
Right.
booking photographers, they're not booking videographers, they're not going to the clients with appointments. And so the value that a third party planner would provide is
Mm-hmm.
null, right? They're not being provided. The client thinks that they have one thing and they have another, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there are ways that you can do it, but the reality is if one particular stream of income crashes, i.e. pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
then you have 6 other ones that, can stack up and help,
Right.
do that.
Keep the bills paid.
Yeah, but also you have to assign it a job, right? So your
Mm.
stream of income isn't just to fill your pockets. That might be one stream of income might be to pay all your marketing expenses. Another stream of income might be to invest.
Mm.
Another stream of income might be to, add equipment. Whatever that is, you have to give it a job.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that most people get into specific events and they're like, "Oh, I'll make money as a wedding planner," and that ain't it. So,
Yeah.
so I mean, it's only a handful of people that I know personally that is the only thing that they do is
Right.
weddings. So for us, I am multi-layered. The company is built off of me and my
Mm-hmm.
persona, and so I needed to be able to do a lot of different things well. And
Right.
so, in order to do that, I have to make sure that the workflows line up and stack up and that my systems are in place and find other opportunities to pour back into that particular line of business. And so that's why we ended up with the hotel license.
I was going to say, how did you gain the knowledge to do all these things? Because, of course, consulting, and then event concept creation, I feel like you made that up, but it's amazing. And then wedding planning, on-site event management, conference planning, strategic planning. logistics, vendor management, customer relations, community engagement. Like you basically, people come to you and say you're an expert at all of these. How did you gather the knowledge to be able to say that?
I think trial and error. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I wasn't always this, right? So
Mm-hmm.
but I learn from mistakes and I watch.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm often called to fix other people's mistakes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So usually, as a solutionist, I wanted to be the person that people called to fix things. One, because I can charge a premium. You
Mm-hmm.
pay emotions will make you pay whatever it is that you want to pay or that you
Mm-hmm.
feel like you can pay to solve a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it was, I'm getting all these problems. I need to be able to feel, one, confident that I can solve them. Two, I need to not feel, because I'm an empath, I can't
Mm-hmm.
absorb a problem and then be mad about what I was paid to solve a problem.
Right.
No. And also, I need to be very discerning about whose problem I'm solving. Because if
Mm-hmm.
I solve a problem one time, and I got to go back and solve it a second and a third and a fourth time,
Mm-hmm.
there's an upcharge for that, right?
Right. Right.
so,
Right. Right.
so for me now, I have to be very cognizant of like who I'm working with, and I've always been this way, very particular, who we accept as clients,
Mm-hmm.
and that is because of that, right? Because it is for me, what I do is like giving birth, and so I
Right.
cannot be delivering purpose and delivering this product and this wonderful result and still and carrying it to term and being assaulted by the person
Right.
I'm carrying it for, right? I'm not doing it. So I think for me, that is the importance of, knowing your work, like knowing what it is
Mm-hmm.
inside and out, and then learning from your mistakes, listening to clients, and then
Mm-hmm.
also going outside of yourself and your bubble and refining your tools.
That's a huge point that I think a lot of entrepreneurs don't think about is that you cannot accept all clients. So, I mean, they don't do it at all restaurants. If you come in there and you break the rules, you got to leave. But even if you think about that, that is an important piece for whatever your service is. Even with me, I'm like, if you're not willing to do the work, then what's the point? I'll take your money. But I also want you to understand that we're trying to motivate you to be the better person of the next step of version of yourself. So even when somebody's delivering a service and this is my purpose and I'm passionate about it, I can't accept riffraff. I can't accept somebody who's not willing to be dedicated to what I'm doing. And I would expect that from other businesses, but some businesses some people do it. But I'm here to say it. Don't do it.
Yeah, but all money ain't good money.
You're right.
Some of it comes with a curse, not a blessing.
Boy, that's a message. That's a word right there. That's a word right there. Don't pull the Bible out. Everybody turn your Bibles to Proverbs.
The book of joy.
The book of
Yeah.
joy. The book of joy
Yeah.
2025. A good piece of this I wanted to ask you, because you were talking around it a little bit and we're talking about money. What would you say are some key things that people should think about or have some financial principles around entrepreneurship?
Ooh, wee. Know your
Yeah, hey,
numbers.
there you go.
You got to know your numbers. Honestly, I can be honest about my entire process. I went the longest without knowing numbers.
Mm,
I would just do what I needed to do to get back. But again, I'm hustle culture, right? So we came
yeah.
from you get it done by any means necessary. And so I got it done by any means necessary. Now, what caused me to shift was I had this little cute little white woman, and I'm not afraid of anything. For
Hmm.
those of you all that know me, y'all know I'm from Durham and a Scorpio, so
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, right.
We're gonna pray.
Yeah. So I'm not afraid of anything, but the one thing I am afraid of is little 5 foot or below white women that are feisty as hell.
Mm,
They freak me out. They're like clowns to me.
super
And
caring.
yeah. So I had this white woman who turned out to be probably one of the largest influences in my business, I would say, at all.
Mhm.
And I had just moved back from Philly and went to meet with her, and I loved her products. And so she was like, all right, we're going to set you up in our system to be an affiliate so you can get commission. And I was like, oh, wow, thanks. And she didn't know me. She just took a chance on me, and she just liked my personality. And one of
Mhm.
the things she said to me, she asked me all of these financial questions, and I didn't know the answer to them. And she
Mm.
answered for me, right? So she was like, how do you charge your clients? Do they pay you or do you pay them? And I was like, I stumbled. She was like, they pay you. Like, she then
Mm.
used that opportunity to coach me and help me grow my business. Ultimately,
Mm.
she helped me grow my business, and she ended up selling her business for a lot of money and is retired.
Mm.
But she was the one that she wasn't going to let me show that I didn't know my numbers, right? She wasn't
Mm.
like, she knew by asking me the question in my pause that I didn't know. But she then told me the correct answer, and then I just
Mhm.
executed everything that she told me. And from there was the first lesson that I had in how to price, how to
Mhm.
collect, how to ensure that
Mhm.
I had a second stream of income, right? And that was through that
Mhm.
affiliates. And then thirdly, she was very instrumental in helping me see over the curve, right? What's to
Mhm.
come. Not just you can do this now, but like what in 2 years and 3 years and 5 years, this is how this is going to work.
Mhm.
And so I was able to get ahead where my peers were still kind of operating from, let me just charge a service fee
Mhm.
and not really base it on hours, where mine became, I'm basing my pricing on value.
Mhm.
And I'm not trading time for dollars. I'm just
Right.
not doing it. So I would say that. So knowing your numbers, actually getting school on how to be thinking about your numbers specific to your
Mhm.
industry. And then I would say thirdly, with all these different tools now, it makes sense to have like a team
Mhm.
of CPAs, bookkeepers. Software will do its job, primarily, like, Stripe and QuickBooks and things like that. But you need to be able to have someone that can explain the picture, right? Because once you start
Right.
going into buying property, the numbers tell a different story than what you think they do. And I
Mhm.
had to, having purchased property, I learned that and was like, well, this is how it has to be done, because
Mhm.
entrepreneurs are taught to write off everything
Right.
and to lower what your income is. But then when you go to purchase things, you have to show that you are. And so if
Mhm.
you've written everything off, then it's showing that you don't have any income, which is
Yeah.
why most lenders don't want to lend to entrepreneurs or self-employed.
You basically
So
like a college student.
that part, or no credit, right? So those are the things that I went through it, learned the lesson, fixed it, went back into a terrible situation. And then I had to, learn it again. And this time I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not learning this lesson again. Like, I got it. But
Right.
yeah, no, money is leverage your money, and you don't know how to make sure that you are properly insured. You do not have a business, you have a hobby.
Mhm.
And
Right.
it's important to understand that.
Right. You getting paid to do hobby work.
And a job, and a glorified job.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I
Mhm.
agree. So let's talk about this. So again, you have 7 streams, just like you have 9 in your certain business, but you keep talking about it. So you've delved, what is it? I don't know. You jumped into real estate, which is another way of getting, I know you talked about, I remember when you were talking about buying a few houses that you have acquired over the few years, and I'm pretty sure you're doing some other things as well, but let's talk about that. What is your mindset behind that? I mean, how do you're doing this business, you're growing here, and you're like, that's shining, that's more money. What's your pivot to that? What is that? What does that click for you?
Remember when I talked about being a layered human? I
Hmm.
am. I've lived 9 lives, so I've done a lot of things. But one of the things that I did in my 20s is I went to real estate school, and I was like a savant. I graduated from that real estate school second in my class, and I was highly sought after in Charlotte. Same time, at the same time, I was dating somebody, and his family had a event center and didn't have a marketing budget. Was their marketing budget, and I pivoted from what I was doing previously to help the family out and to work there. And that is when I got the event bug, right? That's when, because I was just doing sales. I was supposed to just be doing sales, but my clients were like, no, like, you sold us this property. Now we want to work with you for our events. And so that's kind of, that began to take more of a primary role than the real estate. And so I never finished that journey. I went to take the test, but I didn't prepare for it. I didn't do anything. And I took it after some months. So all of the recall was gone. And I never followed up on it. But what I kept asking myself over the course of my 20-something year career was, like, why did I want to do that? I don't think I ever wanted to go into it selling real estate.
Right.
Always wanted to be an investor. Always wanted to be an investor. And I came from a family that had land, a lot of land. And my grandfather, up until he's held on to a ton of land. And so part of that was me identifying what part of that process appealed to me the most. And that was being an investor. And then I had to figure out how I wanted to do that. And so over the course of time, I managed a bunch of, and then I got to my fourth venue and partnered with my ex-partner, and realized very quickly that, because I didn't have the support, right?
Right.
So I literally started a venue in the middle of pandemic with no money, and it made six figures in a year from just low hanging fruit of people who, were
Right.
friends. And so I think what that showed me was, like, one, after leaving that scenario, it showed me that, like, I'm a powerful creator. I can do or be or have whatever I want with focus and intention. But then what it showed me was the lifespan of the industry. And it showed me that you can, when it's specific to events, you can start up here where you're more of a subscriber. You like to attend events, you like to see how they look, you like to, engage. You might, search some things online, to then you actually wanting to do them, right? Somebody asking you to plan their birthday party, you planning stuff at
Right.
church, then you become a hobbyist. And then from the hobbyist, if you're like, oh, I can actually make money at it, then you become a professional. And then
Right.
after the professional, what's next, right? Most people don't think that part through. And so for
Right.
my journey, it was that subscriber to hobbyist to then professional to then influencer, then and now into a brand, an actual institution. And so where do you go from there? What I realized is that I didn't want to, one, get back. I can bet on myself all day long. I know what I'm going to do.
Right.
And I
Right.
tell people what I'm going to do, but I can't get in another situation where I am making other people money and I'm not benefiting from it, or I'm
Right.
being micromanaged, or, I'm being gaslit, right? Like, I'm not going to put myself in another scenario like that. And so what I realized at that time was, in order for me to fulfill my desire to be an investor, I needed to look around and see what I had available to me. And once I did that, I realized that my family was aging. I realized that events are a young girl's game. I realized that at that point, real estate market had skyrocketed because we're in COVID. And so I was like, well, what can I do, accomplish all these goals? And so I leveraged a relationship, bought a triplex and in a historic place, and now I'm renovating or restoring. I'm at the tail end of restoring a 110-year-old manor house. And it is a family-owned property. And so I'm keeping that legacy alive by holding that. But then also I am expanding it because now I'm one of like a handful of Black women that have a historic home in the most
Mm,
prominent zip code in Durham. But what does that mean? That means that is supposed to serve a purpose, and that purpose
right.
is more of a hospitality house, right? For people who
Mm-hmm.
need rest, like we talked about,
Right.
right? If you have to develop content, if you just need a place to like go and like get away from it all, have a meeting,
Mm-hmm.
Airbnb, whatever. Now there's a place that you can actually do that, that's downtown, that you're able to enjoy. And this is the first of many, but the goal is that is what I retire off of, not me being a
Right.
washed up old planner trying to get dibble and dabble back into the industry. I'm not doing
Right.
it.
Right. Right. That's that's huge because in your personal space, whether and then if you're in a career and in entrepreneurship, introspection, self-reflection, self-evaluation, company evaluation, it's important. Like you said, sometimes you got to understand when I need to get out the game and shift and make a complete shift that keeps you on top. There's some people who still fight. I could see if you had a brick and mortar business and you were selling a product that everybody had to go get, Joy's Rib Shack. Yeah, we're going to get Joy's Ribs. You can do that for 50 years. But when you understand the type of the business that shifts and it changes because of the society, yeah, that's smart. That is super intelligent of you to think about that. That makes sense. I got to get into some other things with this wealth and place it somewhere else. I got to actually, what they call it, move my portfolio to some other things.
Yeah.
And I think that's important.
Yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, less about it. My company is much more valuable with real estate. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like, if I want to sell Virtue, which may or may not ever happen, if I want to sell Virtue, now it's got a property attached to it that, could potentially, skyrocket the valuation. But again, you'd
Right.
have to have a team that could tell you that. I don't, that's one thing. That doesn't mean that like Virtue operates it, but Virtue doesn't own it. Joy doesn't own it. But,
Right.
it is what it is. It
Right.
is a
Right. Right.
property that is in the hands of Black folks
Uh-huh.
in a space that isn't. So, yeah.
In that respects, you talked about it a lot. New and inspiring entrepreneurs are going to think, I can do this. And you said it, you need help, you need support. So talk about mentorship and how it's changed or developed you besides the old lady. How else has mentorship shaped some other things? And then how may have it shaped you personally as well, from some advice you might have received from certain people and people who've been in doors, open doors for you.
Yeah. To be honest with you, that hasn't been my experience,
Mm,
especially moving back here to the Triangle. I had pretty good success in, Philly and Delaware,
mm-hmm,
more so than I had here, right? Because the Triangle, for whatever reason, doesn't necessarily work together.
mm, mm,
So the tables that I built,
mm-hmm,
and if I didn't build them, I probably bought the materials, right? Like,
mm,
so it wasn't a scenario where anybody gave me anything. Everything
mm-hmm,
that I have been able to accomplish for the most part has been by the work of my own hands and God.
mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
And so that is why I've been able to sit in different rooms and speak honestly and transparently about some of the challenges locally, is because of that, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I don't serve masters, right?
Right,
Besides
right, right,
God and
right.
myself. So I can't say that has been my experience. I also can't say that I've had very many mentors because, again, in my industry, it's segmented, right? So
Mm-hmm,
weddings are one lane, corporate events are one lane, academia is one lane, medical meetings is one lane. I
mm-hmm,
happen to have done them all and carried some of those soft skills to be able to,
mm,
put it to back Virtue, right?
right.
And I've done it well, and I've built relationships while I was in those spaces. And so
Mm-hmm,
then I became trusted. And so now what I'm doing along with the real estate is now I'm taking all of that knowledge out and putting it into the event conservatory membership that we're about to
Mm,
offer, where those people can follow that funnel of Joy's life, right? From subscriber to
mm-hmm,
hobbyist to professional to influencer to brand, and, do it their own way, but without
mm-hmm,
making all of the mistakes that I had to make, the expensive mistakes that I had to make.
mm,
And so that is my way of preserving and giving um, giving back to the industry that has served me well, is being that person that I needed. That
mm,
person that was able to show me, like, all right, I don't really like I said I wanted to be a wedding planner, but I don't really like weddings. I actually
right,
like corporate, or I like music festivals. And that's how
right,
we train our team internally, is I cross train them on everything. They
mm-hmm,
learn from weddings because that's the most emotional events. But
mm-hmm,
then they can also go, and I can throw them in a music festival and they can execute. But that's because of how I've taught them, and I teach, by doing.
mm. What events and strategic partnerships have you been a part of here in the Triangle area?
Oh God, there are too many to name.
Well, let's go.
Yeah, there are too many to name. But
Just one.
Art of Cool project, Moog Fest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on the festival Biscuits and Banjos now. That's
I
upcoming
heard
in
about that.
April.
Mm-hmm.
I've done some work early on with Dreamville.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, who else have I worked with? I've worked with a ton of different foundations and organizations and nonprofits that have their own suite of events.
Mm-hmm.
Like Village of Wisdom is a great one, and that's for Black parents advocating
Mm-hmm.
for themselves. Shot Foundation, which is another one that's more national, and a lot of fraternal organizations, the Boule, the
Mm-hmm.
Guardsmen, Alpha Kappa Alpha. I've done some things for Delta. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, it is, even if my name isn't on it, I likely put something into it.
Right.
And that's what I love, is to be able to plant those seeds and
Mm-hmm.
watch them flourish and grow for our people specifically, right?
Mm-hmm.
110 is another one, which is
Mm-hmm. I heard
their
about that.
job is to try to, get a million Black men to work.
Right.
So it really just depends on what it is and what I'm tied to, and I believe in mission driven work. So
Mm.
I don't just want to work just for the sake of working. It's got to be able to serve, serve our people.
Amen. I like that.
Yeah.
That's your purpose, helping and serving people. And all of these events, I'll tell you, like one of the things I was thinking about for myself, and you, even if you do select somebody like you talked about earlier that may have all their stuff together, but you still have to deal with these unforeseen circumstances and headaches and issues. So how do you gather your mind to articulate the best way of not saying, get out my face, and just deal with some issues that just, I know in the wedding planners, you're going to deal with bridezillas sometimes. How do you deal with those? You don't.
I don't have to, because I level set expectations early, right?
Oh,
And so
you cut it off. That's good. I love
yeah,
that.
I mean, most people who are going to be problematic are not, you either love me or hate me. You do not come
Mm-hmm.
my way, because you already know that, like, I'm not going to be moved. Now, the thing is, I have no issue having hard conversations. I've never had that.
Mm-hmm.
So that, to me, like, the harder the conversation, and I might shrink back and grab my pearls a little bit, but I'm down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I will sit
That's the
there and I
Scorpio
will
in
have
you.
it. Oh God, yeah. So for me, like, I don't have those issues. Even with clients, like, I would say, even if you polled my clients, they'd be like, whew, sometimes we didn't want to hear what she had to say. But the truth of the matter is, like,
Right.
I needed to be honest with you. Yeah.
That
Yeah. Oh,
is possibly the strongest
the
thing I
sun is
think.
shining.
It is. You're shining. That's
Yeah.
God is, he's shining light on him. My son, he's shining on you. He said, you shining bright right now.
Well,
Obviously, I already know. This is my west. That means you facing east. No, you facing west too on that side. Anyway, get out of that. I'm thinking crazy. Anyway, that is hugely and widely important when you're dealing with people, is to be able to have a hard conversation. That is important in every relationship. That's important for the things that you want, the things that you need, and the results you're trying to achieve. So whether you're in a workplace, whether you're dealing with a significant other, you set your boundaries and you stand on business with your boundaries. And I think that's what happens where people fail. We have soft hearts. Like you said, sometimes it's like, oh, well, I want to make this person feel good. But if you stand on your business and boundaries, you stay in the same swim lanes. We can talk about relationships all day long. I can talk about that. But it's important if you're an entrepreneur. You can't even lean forward no more, can you?
It's like right there. It's like
Well, it's
right there.
wintertime. You know how
And
y'all light skin, y'all need that.
need as much melanin as possible.
You
Go
need it
through.
all.
Hopefully, I don't white out your whole scene. But
No.
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, but my mother was that way. My mother was the first Black speech therapist in North Carolina. One, two, she was
Wow.
the first female athletic director at Central when they won the championship in '09. So like she was always very like straightforward and straight to the punch. And I spent a lot of time with her. So yeah, we're not punks over here. Okay, we're not quitters either. So like it is, whatever needs to be
Right.
discussed needs to be discussed. And I've been told that I intimidate. It's less of me intimidating is me just being transparent and honest about whatever
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about. And for me, I'm not going to do it in a way that's harmful or
Mm-hmm.
malicious. And that is not my intent. My intent is to say, this is what I'm picking up from this
Mm-hmm.
scenario. I'm going to give you an opportunity to prove me different. And 9 times out of
Mm.
10, people don't. So,
Let me speak to this because this brought up a good thought. They say a lot of women in leadership have to take on a lot of masculine energy to get things done. Do you believe that is true? Then also, do you feel that you have to do that to get some things pushed your way in business?
that is a hell of a question. I used to think so. I used to
Mm-hmm.
think so. I used to think that I had to operate in more of a masculine energy until recently. And now I realize that it is better to accomplish anything with honey versus vinegar.
How long we been saying that? Honey
Yeah,
over SHIT?
yeah, yeah. But vinegar serves its purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Vinegar cleanses,
Yeah. Yes.
vinegar disinfects. Vinegar, it might smell crazy, but it's so beneficial. If you take it every single day, your body
Mm-hmm.
actually becomes like impervious to
Mm-hmm.
disease and sickness and all the other things. So where it tastes bad going down, the properties and the benefits of it
Mm-hmm.
far outweigh the taste, right?
Right.
Honey, you can take it and it tastes sweet and it can heal a burn,
Mm-hmm.
or it can keep your antihistamines from acting up and flaring up.
Right.
And it's doing the exact same thing, but it's sweet.
Right.
So it depends on what is needed at the time,
Mm-hmm.
on which one has the more potent benefit.
This is a great metaphor because what I'm thinking is honey is your value. Vinegar is your policies, your rules, your legislations, your boundaries. It is your business. It is your structure. It is your operation. But the honey is what everybody came to get.
Mm-hmm.
It's your service. It's
Mm-hmm.
the customer service. It's the experience. Don't steal that. I know you created some of it. We gonna join on that book because you're gonna add
It's
that. I know you're
mine.
gonna.
You didn't
You
even
can.
get that. It's mine. Stop it. Why you always trying to take stuff?
First of all, we can go on that one because that's gonna be in your book. I can see you. You're gonna end up writing this book about business, and there it is. I'm already seeing it right now. But no, that's an excellent way of thinking about it. And I think that's what people need to understand as far as your service, your benefit, your experience in your business has to deliver something that people want to come back for. You're solving a problem, but did they like you solving that problem? Because anybody can just solve a problem, but if you solve it with all vinegar, you know,
Also the process, right? So like
yeah.
that used to be me. Is I used to deliver on the result, but people didn't like my process. And I
Mm,
wasn't getting enough out of the process, right? So like that would have been my honey example, right? Is like
mm-hmm.
it I took shoved some honey in your face and you liked the result and how it tasted, but it didn't benefit you the way
Mm-hmm.
that if I'd have given you vinegar, then you would have been like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I actually feel what it's doing in my body.
Mm-hmm.
Versus honey, it goes in your mouth and you don't feel what it's doing at
Right.
all.
Right.
That doesn't mean that it's not doing it.
Facts. I agree. I agree. I got two more questions for you. I think we can
Okay.
go. I mean, we did an excellent job. This is amazing as far as what you drop. I love getting a lot of notes. If I get it, I'm almost on my third page with you because I'm taking notes and stealing some of this stuff. But yeah, I want to make sure
Stealing,
we
we're
get
gonna work on that.
stealing. Hey, well, I'm sorry. I'm borrowing it because I can't give it back because you've already helped me before in the past. So here we are. So now I lost my question. Anyway, well, I wanted to ask you about your family. What other first? You talked about your mom, but you have a history of people in your family has done a lot for the city of Durham and in North Carolina and possibly in the United States. What are these things that we can talk about to shine a light on your family? And when you go downtown Durham, you see that Black Wall Street sign, the first thing I think about is you. That's your family.
It is, yeah. My grandfather came here with a disputed amount of money. We've gone from $30, 30 cents to 15 cents. We don't know how much money that guy came here with from Greene County. But he built a own business from the soul. That was their tagline. So we had two locations, one on Paris Street and then one in South Durham that we just recently released for Speight's
Mm-hmm.
Auto Service Center. And then he was instrumental in starting the Black professional business chain, which was,
Mm-hmm.
businesses that would get together and, talk about business, right? And how they
Right.
could help their fellow men. He was a deacon. I mean, he did all the things. And his name was Theodore Roosevelt Speight, which we
Yes.
commonly refer to as Bud. And then, he had a family of girls, and then my dad poked along. My dad went to A&T and
mm,
went into the service for a little while, and then came back and took over the company. And they were my dad and my grandfather and my grandfather's brothers and cousins built Spates Auto into like one of the top sales oil. They were doing oil at the time,
mm-hmm.
oil sales companies and auto repair shop. So
Mm-hmm.
you've got that. Then you've got my aunt Lacey, who is in Atlanta, who was one of the first Black preachers at Ebenezer Baptist
Mm-hmm.
Church. You've got my aunt Betty, who was literally one of the first scientists at UNC Chapel Hill that integrated that
Wow.
space. You've got my uncle Johnny, who passed recently, and he was one of the first Blacks at Duke in the operating room.
Mm.
And then you've got my mom, who I've spoken about. You've got on my mom's side, my aunt, who was Ted Kennedy's executive assistant for
Wow.
several decades. You've got my other aunt, Shirley, who's in New Jersey, who pretty much ran the hospital and the nurses.
Mm.
So I come from good stock. And then my
Mm-hmm.
brother, who, he's like the startup king. So he helps
Mm-hmm.
businesses, and he scales businesses and startups and corporations, and make sure that they're socially responsible. To now my two sisters, who are both
Mm-hmm.
doctors, and
Wow.
one owns a dental practice with her husband in Delaware, and the other is a doctor in the educational field, but she goes from Atlanta to DC to South Africa. So
Wow.
and
Right.
I'm grateful, because that's not everybody's experience. I'm so grateful.
Mm-hmm.
They're all crazy, but it's fine. You have to be to do
You
this
gotta
type of
be.
work. You
Yes, you
have to be,
gotta be.
but yeah, I mean, then I've got a cousin who has a local green Atlanta, who is one of the
Mm.
top vegan restaurants in the country, and they're going into the airport now, and they were the first Black food truck and on Disney's campus in Orlando, Florida. Yeah. So We have a lot of
Wow.
we got a lot of wealth, mental wealth, and stock in our family lineage. And yeah, it is.
It sounds like it's competitive. I'm competitive. I can imagine. Just so what you do,
It's
what's your
not.
portfolio look like?
But it's not. That's the thing. It's
Wow.
collaborative, right? So like everybody has their lane, and everybody.
Mm,
The only requirement is that we keep faith and family first, and that we're
mm,
masterful in whatever we do. Those are the only two things. That's the only
right.
requirement. And so, I think for that, yeah, it's pressure to remain consistent, but faith, family, and mastery. Okay.
I can imagine like you said, now that I think about it, if you've got people in your family who's done it, the fear is kind of removed. It's like, oh, I'm not scared. Unfortunately for a lot of African American folks, they've never seen it. So we're dreaming and trying to figure it out. But you have been extremely blessed with a family and a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of experience, a wealth of just first. Like, man, that's amazing. Like, I mean, I know that it feels good to wake up in the morning. I'm like, yeah, look at my family tree. Look at this that I'm a part of. So I have to show up because you don't want to be the first failure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there have been some, you know what I mean? But at
Right.
the end of the day, it all works, right? Like
Right.
there's nothing that's ever lost and it's never done, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you're constantly working to get better as you, not
Right.
in comparison to anybody else. They don't matter. It's are you fulfilling your purpose, and can you
Right.
wake up every morning and look in the mirror and be okay? That's the main thing. Do you have the peace?
Facts.
Yeah.
Do you have the peace?
Yeah.
Amen. I love it. This is beautiful. This is a great ending. I guess my last question to you, I'm going to switch it up. I usually ask these same two questions at the end, which are pretty much what advice would you give to your former self if you were a kid, or what information would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs? But I'm going to be different because since you're creative, I'm going to be creative on this last question. And this is because you take away, for you, I'm going to take this away. Take away what you got going on right now. If money were no object and you could do anything in this world, what would you be doing and enjoying with the rest of your life? The sun. There it is.
Honestly, I would build a family compound.
Mm, explain
And
that.
I just
Yeah.
want a safe space for our family to be able to just be.
Mm,
So whether that be overseas, whether that be in a different country, whether that be, I don't necessarily want it in the States, but yeah, and that's the quest I'm on, is to build a family compound of self-sustaining land
mm.
near a body of water where we own all the land, and so if people want to build on it that are in our family, then they
Like
can, and they can
like
pass
Beauty
it
and the
down.
Black.
Okay, so no, couldn't get through 30 seconds of that, so no, but there are some elements of it, right? Is I just want us to have, the Ted Turner model. I just want us
Mm,
to have land,
mm-hmm,
and land in abundance, and I think we can do it. But yeah, that's what I would
mm.
want.
You trying to make an empire. People going to be trying to get married into your family.
No, they're not. I will tell you,
That's
they're
beautiful,
not.
though.
They're not thus far. So we'll see.
This is good, Joy. I do appreciate you for being on here. I know I've held you hostage for enough. This might be the longest podcast this year. There's probably more coming on. But again, for this season, Entrepreneurs of the Triangle, you've done an excellent and amazing job. You answered all the questions. See, this entrepreneurs don't do. They don't read. They're just smart for no reason. They don't read any
That
emails.
is
So let you
not
all know that they don't read.
that
But
that is not true. We just don't read about podcasts.
exactly. See, this is your another money maker right here. You gotta think about it. You have great podcast presence. I like it. So
Thank you. Thank you.
good. So tell the folks how they can contact you. I know I'm going to put everything online. I'm going to put all your details, but tell them how if they want to reach out to you for business or even pick your brain, How can they do that?
Well, Picking My Brain has a fee.
Yep.
Yeah. So you can
Except
find
for
us
me.
anywhere. Well, you got in before the system was there. But anyway, so you can go anywhere to Instagram, Facebook, at Virtue, VIRTUE, events.com.
Hmm.
You can go to www.virtueevents.com. There's also Joye Speight, JoyeSpeight.com. And our product line, which is Virtuous Lifestyles, is luxury candles. So you can go to any one of those and they will actually connect you. But virtuouslifestyles.com. And then soon to come is eventconservatory.com, but you can find us on social media at Event Conservatory.
You need to send me all of that because I don't have it, and I need to add that to. Yeah, we're gonna do all that. So yeah,
Okay.
I appreciate that's a lot. I know you sold candles. I need some candles. I love candles.
You
I got
knew that.
candles burning right now. I don't be remembering stuff that I don't get. Like I'm supposed to
Clearly,
get the first.
that don't mean I didn't tell you though.
I ain't got none in the house.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
over
that's
here
your
going to
fault.
TJ Maxx, getting all the candles out the clearance rack, and you got candles in your backyard. Look at that.
Yeah, but
See how entrepreneurs do?
hey man, you gotta stay tapped in. You ain't tapped in.
Yeah,
Lock
you're right.
in, Mark.
I'm gonna lock in. This is the year to lock in. So, folks, if you want to see more podcasts, more tips, more tricks, more information, I'm giving out free game and information on all my social media platforms on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram at Career Transformation Academy. And if you want to really take a deep dive and understand how we can help you get to the bag with a free career consultation, we do this each and every day, Monday through Friday. We can help you get that and then show you how to get a new job, a new career, a new beginning, a new start, and help you change your life. Just go to www.careertransformationacademy.com and we can get you set up an appointment. Talk to me, talk to one of my associates. We'll get you going. We'll change your life. 2025, this is the year to start doing some things and making things happen, because if you need that money, let's show you the way. If you want to be an entrepreneur, call Joy. Either way, we'll get you there. Well, folks, this is the end of the show. Joy, I appreciate you. Excellent job. Might have to do this again. I got some ideas. See, you get me thinking when I talk to you. I got some more ideas. I be wanting to throw some free. I said, I'll throw some God bless ideas your way. You give me some this way. There it is. That's how we work.
I'll send the invoice.
I almost said something. I almost said N-words.
I know you did.
Well, Joy, I appreciate you, and everybody, thank you for watching. Peace.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So high up. I'm so full. Deja vu. I've been here before. Say come back down to